What's happening, Achievers? Ajit Sidhu here. Another beautiful day as always. Now, I want to start off with, what do you get when you squeeze a lemon? Lemon juice. It's not a joke. Whatever's inside the item that you're squeezing, that's what you're going to get. That's one thing we have to remember. When pressures of life is put upon us, when someone takes us to the point where we get upset or we get angry, what comes out is this whatever's inside. And that's a true test of the person that you truly are. Everybody can act happy. Everyone can act like they love someone. Everyone can act like they care. But the truth of what's inside of you only comes out when you're squeezed, when the pressure's put on, when you're under pressure. What is actually inside of you? That's something that we have to think about, because you can get two things. If a coal is squeezed too hard, all you get is dust. But if constant pressure is added to the coal consistently and is controlled, you get a diamond. And that's something that we have to think about, because who we truly are, and if we're working on ourselves in a true manner, we can only figure it out when pressure's put on. And that's why we always have to go out to the uncomfortable zone. Now, everyone talks about the uncomfortable zone. That's the uncomfortable zone. When somebody takes you to a point where you are angered or upset, or there's pressure, there's stress, you're being squeezed. And that is the time. That's when you need to put your game face on, because this is it. You put the helmet on, because now you can figure out exactly who you are. And there's a story about myself that I think I mentioned before. Excuse me. There was once when I was driving back from university, and I had my MR2 sports car, and I was driving back, and there was bumps. I was down a road, a residential road, and there was bumps ahead of me. And as I was going, there's a motorcyclist behind me, and the motorcyclist, it was getting dark, so we had our headlights on, and every time I went over the bump, he would flash me. And I thought, whoa, why is he flashing me? I know I'm a sports car, but I'm not going to speed over the bumps. And I went to the next one, I bumped, and then he flashed me. And then I went bump, and he flashed me. I said to myself, he does it one more time, and now pressure's being put on me. He does it one more time, just one more time. I'm going to jump out, and I'm going to unleash. Well, I went over a bump, and he flashed me. I slammed on the brakes. I opened the door. I got out. I said, what are you doing? Why are you flashing me? I can't go ahead. And the cyclist looked at me and said, mate, I'm not flashing you. Every time he went over a bump, his headlight went up and it went down. Now, when I was put under pressure, what came out of me at that point was exactly what was inside of me. And I had that realization. And at that point, when I was driving back home, I thought about how people react when they're in their cars. When they're driving, without people knowing, there's two things that happen when people drive in their cars. One, they feel like they're in a safe haven. They're in a bubble that no one can touch them. But the second thing is there's a bit of pressure put on, because you have to remember that you have to drive, you have to watch all the cars, you have to watch the pedestrian, you have to put it into gear, you have to put the brakes on, you have to accelerate. So there's pressure put on. And automatically, whatever's inside you at that point will come out when you're driving. So if you are an erratic driver, an angry driver, a road rage, that was me. That is what comes out. But on the drive back, I realized that every single person is in the same situation when they drive. They make mistakes. They might drive there might be a traffic ahead, and a car goes through a green, but all of a sudden it's blocking your path. We see they are blocking our path. We're standing there, our lights are red, and we're watching thinking that guy better move. If he doesn't move, ho ho ho. And all of a sudden our lights turn green. And what do? We drive right up to the car, honk our horn, honkity honk, honk honk. We can see the person can't go anywhere. Why are we judging that person? Why are we so judgmental? And the only reason why I say this is because I've done it. This was me going up, honkity honk, honk honk. The poor person is stressed out. Why can't we understand that? Why can't we understand that people make mistakes? People accidentally cut us in. People accidentally put the brakes on, or they're going in the roundabout and think, oh geez, I gotta get off, and nothing's happened, but in our head, anger, pressure, and what comes out is what's inside of us. And that's a great time to assess yourself. What kind of driver are you? If you do drive, what kind of driver are you? Think about it. Or what kind of passenger are you? Wives always say, my husband, he's terrible, terrible passenger. But that's because what's inside of the husband is actually coming out. They need to fix themselves. Show them this video. Now, what we have to do is understand that anger that we have, or hatred or annoyance, it's like that saying, it's like holding a hot coal burning your hand, waiting for you to throw it at the person that's made you angry. You hold on to this hot coal. You take care of this hot coal. It's burning away, but you take care of it. You don't want to share it to anyone. You're just in there. You're looking at everyone. No, I am not going to tell you what's in my hand. But by the time you let it go, your hand is all burnt. We're just hurting ourselves. We gotta let go. Just let it go. And I'm not gonna break out into the Frozen song. We gotta let it go. Just let it go. Drop the coal. There's the anger and upset are just emotions. And now there's lots of people that say, don't be angry. You shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't be angry. Yes, you should, because you're a human. Every human gets angry. I get angry. I'm a human. I've got a heartbeat. You've got a heartbeat. You're watching this. You're breathing. You will get angry. The difference is, and what people should be saying, and this is another little golden nugget I'm about to throw at you. Catch it. Watch out for it. Here it comes. Anger is a negative emotion or it's a positive emotion. It depends on how we use it. Just like a knife. A knife can be used to stab someone, or it can be used by a surgeon to save someone. Same thing as anger. How do you make anger into a positive thing? Well, there's two aspects that we just need to think about. Anger as a negative emotion. What happens when we are angry and we act immediately is exactly this. A father was listening to his son who constantly would get angry, and he would shout and scream at everyone, and he would shout and scream at his sister, and he would shout and scream at his brother, and he would shout and scream at his mother, and he would just throw things and scream. And the father, who was a wise father, sat there watching, and he said, son, come here. I know how it feels to be angry. Every time you're angry, here's a hammer. Here's a bunch of nails. Just get one nail and hammer it into the fence as hard as you can, and you'll feel great. Well, the son did get angry, and he whacked a nail in. He got angry again, he whacked another nail in. He got angry again, and he whacked another nail in. And eventually the fence was covered with nails. But as he was doing this, he realized that he was able to control it, and it was getting less and less every single day. And he said, Daddy, you are a wise man. Wow, my anger has actually just gone. Thank you. I don't get angry anymore. And the father said, great. Well done, son. I am so proud of you. Now here's the hammer, now turn it around. And now take out every single nail. And he went and he stood back, watched his son pull out the nails, pull out the nails, pull out the nails, pull out the nails. And he said, "Daddy, I'm all done." And the father went, "Great. Now look at the fence. The fence has got holes in it. And it will never be the same again." The son realized what he had been doing. And what we do when we get angry. We get angry and we unleash. But all we do is we get a nail and hammer it into the person that we're angry with. And we get another nail and hammer it in. And then when we go to say, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry about that," we turn the hammer around and we pull out the nail. But there's a hole there. We've left a hole. And there's a hole over there that can't be fixed. We damage people. We leave our residue there. We shouldn't do that. What we need to do is wait. When that emotion comes, now this is how you make it into a positive. Wait. Be patient. Everything we teach children. Wait. Be patient. Relax. Go to the gym. Do something. Breathe. Go for a walk. Relax. Wait. And then ask yourself, how can I use this? How can I use this and what can I learn from this? And then all of a sudden, that negative anger emotion becomes a call for action. And once you have that call for action as a foundation, and on top, the bricks are basically the question that you've just asked, you get an answer, a powerful answer. And you realize that you can make it into a positive. You can learn from it. You can see the good stuff rather than getting a nail and hammering it into the person. And then eventually turning the hammer around and saying, "I'm sorry." Now there's a great story, one final story that goes well with this, which brings it all home. It's about a story about the most richest billionaire. He was the richest man in the 1800s, John D. Rockefeller in America. And he owned the company called Standard Oil. And he had a CEO who made a mistake. He didn't make a little mistake, he made a big mistake. He lost the company $2 million. Now, let me just put it in perspective. If someone made a mistake in your company and you lost $2 million, what would you do to them? You would probably bring them in and say, "Get out. You're fired. I never want to see you again. That was my money. You're out." Well, $2 million in those days is the equivalent of $160 million today. So this CEO was sweating it. He reached the door of Rockefeller, and he knew Rockefeller was sitting inside. And he knocked on the door, sweating, heart racing, and he walked in expecting Rockefeller to be angry, to be annoyed, for the pressure on Rockefeller to be on, and all of a sudden Rockefeller waiting with his nails to hammer into the CEO. But he wasn't. Rockefeller was sitting there writing away. And he looked up and said, "Come in." Carried on writing, and then he looked up to the CEO and said, "What did you learn from this?" And the CEO said, "I learned never to make that mistake again. That was the worst mistake I could have done, and I'm so sorry." And he went, "Great." And he wrote it down. And the CEO was very curious, and he kind of leaned over to look at the paper that he was writing on. And Rockefeller left it slightly forward so he could see it. And it said, "All the good things the CEO has done." And he had written all the deals the CEO had done, all the money the CEO had brought in, all the staff he had added value to. He had written it down, and right at the bottom he wrote the lesson that the CEO had learned. And he went, great, thank you so much, back to work. And the CEO learned that sometimes when we're angry, we forget that those people that we're angry with, what great stuff they've done for us, how they've always been there for us, how they've introduced us to lots of new opportunities, how when we've been crying, they've been holding on to us. When we've been down, they've been lifting us up. We forget that at that moment, but we decide to pick up a nail and a hammer and immediately hammer in. Wait, wait, wait. What do you get when you squeeze lemons? Have a great day, people. Keep adding value, and just remember, we are just one idea away to changing the future. See you later. Bye.